Chapter 1, Ketchikan. August 17, 2008, Ketchikan, Alaska, 6.5 years before Dad's trial. Grandpa Chad Stendal, called Bipa by all of his grandchildren, had a remarkable spirit of discovery and adventure that played an important role in enabling him to become a missionary to the Kogi indigenous people of the Sierra Nevada mountains of Colombia. This same spirit of adventure led him to venture to Alaska in a time when it was not common for a Minnesota-born person to do so. The first time he went to Alaska was in 1952, when he was a civil engineer in charge of building what would later be known as the Richardson Highway. When I was a child, he would take me up this road with my grandmother and the rest of my family. We would begin in Minnesota and cross all of Canada and then go on up to Alaska. Sometimes we would go up past the Arctic Circle to the land of the Eskimos. Bipa related with the Eskimos because he came from a similar background himself, the Vikings of Norway. The wonderful thing about traveling with Bipa was that if he ever saw a mountain he liked along the highway, he would simply pull over and hike it. Dad inherited this extraordinary quality of discovery from Bipa. I saw Dad do this often as well, but in the dangerous mountains of Colombia, to put up radio transmitters. Being a fisherman at heart, if there was a lake he thought might be good for it, my grandpa would stop the motorhome and cast his pole in. The motorhome fit all kinds of stuff in it, including a portable canoe on the top. With a twinkle in his eye, Bipa always said, "The secret to being a good fisherman is that you have to be smarter than the fish." And did he ever catch the biggest fish? They were his personal trophies. But I was too little to fully enjoy the North and all the adventures it brought back then. That is, until one day when I was 21 years old and my dad asked me to help Bipa and Grandma drive up the Richardson Highway. Although they were still active, they were getting older and the bulk of the trip would be too hard on them. I hadn't been up that road since I was 13 years old. At first, I did not want to go because I thought I had too much work. My sister Lisa and I were making documentaries and writing our very first full-feature movie script. But my dad told me all of that could wait and that I should reconsider. It ended up being a life-altering decision, and I am eternally thankful I made the right choice. For the first time in my life, I felt as though I was truly able to discover the magic found in driving up to Alaska, even though I had lost track of the number of times we had driven up there as a child. It is like everything in life. Sometimes you read a book and it just doesn't click for you. Then 10 years later, the Lord ignites a light in your heart, and when you read it again, it comes to life in a way you had never imagined it would, and you are never the same. Bipa was too old to enjoy himself like he had before, but he made sure I did. He knew every mountain that was good to hike up, every hot spring worth wading in, and every lake with big fish worth catching. I would be driving and he would say, "Pull over right here. I want you and Misty to hike up this trail." My cousin Misty and I would do as he said and trudge up the mountain, while Grandma and Bipa waited for us in the van. In our 3-month road trip, we saw bears, moose, wolves, foxes, ducks, caribou, mountain goats, northern lights dancing in magnificent colors, the stars shining so big we thought we had never seen stars before, and beautiful white pine trees so enormous that it would take 2 or 3 people to hug them. I even got to catch and smoke my very own trout for the first time in my life, and it was mouth-watering to say the least. Richard Wurmbrand's words couldn't be truer when he wrote, "There is no atheism among those brought up in nature." According to him, atheists were found where all of God's creation was covered with concrete. We drove up all the way to Anchorage and then on down to Haines, where we took a ferry to Juneau and then another ferry to Hoona, Alaska. Hoona was the destination my grandpa had been looking forward to the most. All along the Richardson Highway, Bipa would keep reminding me that we still had the ferries to look forward to and the beautiful Sitka spruce trees from Hoona. To get there, we sailed on ferries where the American flag stood tall, waving in the wind, and we could see the wonderful pure northern ocean for miles around, with the glorious snow-capped mountains beyond. And then, once we were done with the big ferries, we took a small 5-person boat to an island beyond the island of Hoona, where we would meet the loveliest people and see the most beautiful horses.